Guys, how's it going? Today, I want to talk about XEQT. So, I stumbled upon this post. Well, it's clearly from a month ago. I think I was just searching something up on Google. Anyways, look, let's take a quick read. So, due to the current global events, is it still worth investing in ETFs such as XEQT or VEQT? And of course, this might be a silly question. Is it still worth to invest in these ETFs with the current global climate and ongoing events? Could these factors create greater investment uncertainty for and increase overall risks? If you tell me that you haven't thought about it, like over the past couple of months, that XEQT lost, close to 10% of its value. Let's take a look. I'm pretty sure it was something like that. Let's see. I mean, I guess you could say that. And of course, on this scale now, it doesn't look as scary, but it went from 42.30 more or less down to as low as 38.81, and all in a matter of a month. For something so diversified and so preached to be a fairly safe investment. Of course, it's an equity. There are no bonds. If you want it safe, you should keep it in the bank account. But still, when people preach XEQT, it's look, you are now diversified not just in Canada and the US, you're now owning all those global stocks in Europe, in emerging economies everywhere. And of course, a global sort of oil crisis, it doesn't quite care for borders. It doesn't care whether you're from the US or Canada or Middle East. It's actually not quite ideal in the Middle East right now, but anyways, so what do you do in this case? In theory, a lot of economists agree right now that even if everything was to finish right now, today, there is still month to month of these ramifications of everything to get back to normal. And of course, this is costing global economy billions and billions of dollars, and maybe trillions. I'm not an economist. However, it's safe to assume that it's costing the global economy. So the question is it a good idea to potentially sell XEQT or VEQT and invest into something you believe will keep growing, like S&P 500? Or, any particular stock, maybe BlackBerry? I don't know. My opinion on this has actually changed over the years. Living through the crypto boom and the COVID boom and the subsequent, interest rates going up and a lot of stocks tanking a little bit or taking a little dive for a few months. But anyways, my opinion has changed. Before, I would have said you gotta try and, find the bottom, or if you're quite certain it will go up, you gotta react to that. Maybe there are some technical indicators, but of course, that's the reason you and I are invested in XEQT. If you can tell me what's going to happen with the global economy in 6 months or 1 year, I'm sure you wouldn't be watching this video, right? All I mean is, you don't have control over all this global stuff. You have control only over things you invest in. And when you invest in a particular stock, of course, you can try and time it. You can see that the company is not doing well. Potentially, if you're only investing, again, in Canada and you see that the productivity is low, you see that there is a trade war going on with the US, you might be leaning towards investing somewhere else. But when it's a global ETF of companies from all across the globe, I believe over 9,000 companies, little shards of them, but still, you cannot necessarily out leverage yourself. The best thing you can do, again, we talk about this every time, if you need something for the immediate purchase, you're saving up for down payment and you're worried that all your down payment in XEQT is going to drop by 20%, yes, sell it and just keep it in the savings account for a year. Don't actually invest it in any bonds or equities. If you're worried about this happening and you're not retiring anytime soon, you probably are not honest about your risk tolerance. I think I mentioned it in one of my chats about Wealthsimple, where everyone is so risky when everything is going up. It's very easy. For the past week here, I was looking at this. I mean, it's very easy to be risky and all of a sudden optimistic when it's essentially almost back to its all-time high within a week. But what are you going to do if next week you wake up or tomorrow you wake up and it's down 10%? This is when we're going to get a lot more of this post. Actually, funnily enough, it's right here on the screen, the one I just had brought up here. Yeah, it will be the same thing. So I think at the end of the day, you should just keep investing and try to do it consistently. I wish we could correlate this to the news. We're talking about the ceasefire for a bit there on Monday, March 30th, going on March 31st. And I mean, look, it went up essentially 3% here from $39 to $40.06. Again, there was no good reason for that. But if you were trying to time it, okay, well, it went up too high, I should probably wait until it comes back down because the ceasefire is probably not going to happen. Then again, the next day, I think this is when the announcement happened and the ceasefire did not happen, or essentially they're kind of in the negotiations. So here you would expect it to go back to where it was, but it doesn't go back. In fact, if you were to hold on until here, and keep holding, okay, well, maybe it needs a couple days. Next thing you know, you would have missed out on another. I'm trying to see here like more than 2-3% growth on this global ETF, which is insane. So if you were to just sit this one out because you thought that you were smarter than the market or you had some really deep knowledge, don't try and do that. My best suggestion is to just try and buy the same ETF, $100, $200 a month, whatever you're doing, but just consistently doing it, not trying to time it day to day. First of all, it wastes your mental resources. And second of all, you really cannot control it. With one stock, you have at least a little bit of an idea. There are earnings coming out. There are big announcements for the company. For something like this, you cannot put a finger on the state of the world day to day and kind of get a general idea of the trend. So I would say, yeah, don't worry about selling it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep buying it on a consistent schedule. And hopefully, and at the end of the day, I'll end up in a better position. And I mean, look, I want to be nice, so let's look at VEQT as well. And it's the same thing, right? It was down a little bit. It's up now. Oh, yeah, it went up, 2-ish, 3% here. So they very much mirror each other. But yes, if you own something global like this, don't try to time the market. I mean, it's absolutely impossible. And yeah, just keep on investing. And I'm going to do the same thing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.